Hello everybody, my name is Walnut, and I am here today with another episode of Strat Talk. Today we have a game from DreamHack Leipzig. It is a game between TLO and Snute. This is a best of 5, I believe it was round of 16, and I'm also pretty sure this was game 3 in the set, though I could be wrong. I didn't bother checking beforehand because I'm a dirty scrub. So, what we have going on here, to sum up the beginning parts of the game, they both decided not to do the Ling Bling sort of thing, instead deciding to take a quick natural base and then take a quick third after that. Snute's third was approximately 20 to 30 seconds sooner than TLO's, if I remember correctly. And I would say that from this position alone, I would say Snute is very, very slightly ahead just because his army supply is double of TLO's and he's had his base longer, though I would say he's significantly behind in tech. So moving forward, we have TLO taking some extremely fast tech. He takes this infestation pit here, and this is just in case well, I'm assuming it's in case of mutas, right? Because he's trying to get Vipers out as soon as possible and get some parasitic bombs to go down on the mutas. He also sends an Overseer into the base, and notice the path that this takes. It just swings by the bases. It's not scouting for anything in particular, nothing hidden over here or whatever, or like in this little nook. He's just scouting the hatcheries. Now, why would you do that? He's looking for the lair timing. And he moves in here. If we check his vision, he sees the lair is only half done. It's the 5-minute 25-second mark. And if you were going mutas, you would have a lair already completed by now. This late lair indicates to TLO that there is going to be a lot of roaches. And if we look, there are. This is a roach style play. It has to be. That's the only reason the lair is so late. If you were going anything else, he would have had a lair by now. Now, this is an interesting moment for TLO because he has two options, right? He can let the infestation pit finish, and he can get infestors and try and work fungals and corrosive biles into beating Snute. Or what he can do is he can cancel the infestation pit and throw down a Hydra Den, which is what he does. And this is really smart because it allows him to tech up to lurkers, and lurkers will be able to beat the late lair roach tech because there won't be anything that can properly deal with the lurkers other than maybe ravagers. But once you have a good enough spread on your lurkers, even that's not really cutting it. You need Vipers to pull, or you need lurkers of your own, or even swarm hosts, dare I say. Though that's a bit of a more obscure strategy. The thing is, though, Snute smells blood in the water. He sees this army with his overlord, and he sees like a couple of things moving out, and he's got to assume there's not a whole lot else behind this. And he's right. There's a 30 supply advantage here for Snute in terms of army. But what he doesn't factor in is that +1 attack is finishing just in 4 seconds, and roach speed is finishing relatively soon as well. So Snute takes his 4th base, and he decides to move out. And this is, I think, his biggest mistake in this game, is moving out. He smelled blood in the water, but unfortunately, he just didn't quite anticipate the heavy tech that or the heavy tech advantages that TLO would have. Now, this is a pretty dicey position here for TLO, to be honest. He is balancing on a razor's edge. He's committed a ton of money into this Hydra Den. He's committed a ton of money into drones, having a significant drone lead against Snute. And he's very, very much so skimped on the army. But if we look at the units tab, 47 Zerglings, 5 roaches, 7 ravagers against just 11 roaches and a ravager. This seems like a very bad position, but Snute saw the ravagers moving out of TLO saw the ravagers moving out of Snute's base, and he also saw the roaches. And when you see the roaches moving at a certain speed, you can kind of tell that they're slow roaches. So he knows he's going to have the advantage of speed. So look at what he does. he plays a little bit forward with these roaches, and he waits for his speed to finish, and then he starts picking off Ravagers. So smart. Ravagers are absolutely pivotal to this sort of push because they can help deal with the static defense, and if TLO decides to back up into this sort of area, it's very, very easy to corrosive bile him to death because there's nowhere left to back up to, right? So TLO's deciding that with his upgrade advantage, he'll scoot forward and pick off a couple of Ravagers. Now, he's able to pick off 2 for the price of 1 roach, and then immediately backs up when the lings hit. So smart, so efficient, able to pick off 2 of those Ravagers and even the odds just a little bit. Now, it is 61 Zerglings, but he does have 2 Banelings on the top of the ramp. The 2 Banelings actually don't get great connections. It's like, it gets like maybe like 10, 20 lings, which isn't like a huge deal, but it does help. So he backs up, and look at where the roaches are in this engagement. This is really, really bad by Snute, but also extremely smart by TLO. The lings are significantly faster, and they're also melee units, so they're going to run forward, and they're going to engage the roaches. But the roaches of Snute don't have speed. They're very slow already compared to the Zerglings, so they're lagging behind significantly, and they're not even in range for corrosive bile. So the option that TLO has is to just stutter step against these Zerglings, draw them back and pick them off while the Ravagers aren't even able to shoot them. And he throws down this corrosive bile here too, also very smart, able to either zone back these Ravagers for another second, allowing him another stutter step to pick off more lings, or he does 60 damage to 1 or 2 of the Ravagers, which is worth it in itself. And he does end up getting a little bit of damage on a roach here. Not perfect, but the idea is still good. He backs himself up into this little corner to give the Zerglings as little surface area as possible. And look at this, the Zergling numbers are thinning now that the roaches and Ravagers have caught up. And he's able to split against the corrosive biles because there's nothing locking his army down. And there's a handful, just a handful of lings here. Half of them are across the map still in transit, and by the time those get here, the engagement's already done. Snute has a very, very inferior count of roaches, having only 5 roaches and 5 Ravagers against the 14 speed roaches of TLO. And from this point onwards, TLO is able to push him back. He's able to deal with these roaches and Ravagers, and this single defense with inferior numbers, a 30 supply deficit, was able to expedite his victory, as now he starts up the Lurker Den. He has a significant, or well, he did for a while, he had a drone lead, he's got a supply advantage, he's got an army and an upgrade advantage, he's got a significant tech advantage, and despite not having a 4th base up of his own, he can easily kill the 4th base of Snute right now. In the follow-up pushes, he has Lurkers, and he's able to contain Snute on 3 bases simply because Ravagers are not a solution to Lurkers. They deal well with Lurkers, but you need something else, right? You need Lurkers of your own. You need Vipers, as I said before. You need something else to deal with Lurkers, and with a late lair like he had, he doesn't have those options. So in the follow-up push, TLO does contain Snute on 3 bases, eventually kills his army, and does take the victory. And that victory maybe gave him the momentum, and TLO did end up winning this series. If you haven't seen it, it's really sick. Check it out. My name is Walnut. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.